Greetings, welcome, and good day. You are now tuned into the 18th episode of the Seasoned Vet Podcast. I'm so happy you could make it to another chapter of the show. This week we're joined by another brilliant black lady in STEM. In 1995, this information systems technician joined the U.S. Coast Guard after having lost interest in high school to get her GED. Later that year, she managed to score 100% on her military requirements test for E3 and E4. She, of course, quickly made rank and became a company commander a few years later in 1999. Since then, she's gone on to collect over 24 medals and ribbons, a master's degree, and in 2017, she became the first black woman in her rate to achieve the rank of E9. She's a self-proclaimed nerd with a very unique service story. And that's why I'm calling this episode Unicorn in Uniform. Friend!
Hi.
Hey, friend, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Nice. It's a beautiful day in my neighborhood. I hope it's a beautiful day in yours as well.
It is. I was just outside raking leaves. So, yes, it's a beautiful autumn day. I love autumn.
Wow, you were out doing work on this wonderful Sunday. Okay, good for you.
Yeah.
I was in my kitchen earlier making a very mediocre cup of coffee. So this interview is going to be the best part of my day because that coffee was not.
Oh, my goodness. We got to get you a different brand.
Look, it wasn't even the brand, friend. It was, I have two coffee pots. One very fancy one that was gifted to me when I left the service, but it's in storage. And I have a regular coffee pot that I normally do keep at home, but I took it to my job like last week because I spend more time there than I do at home. So like, why not have my coffee pot there? So when I went to go make coffee today, I was like, I don't have my coffee pot, but I do have filters and I do have coffee. So let me go ahead and just like boil some water and run it through.
You need yeah.
Look,
you
hey.
need a French press.
Look, when you're addicted to coffee, you will find a way.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Look, but I boiled that water. I poured it over the grounds in the filter. And then I realized I don't have any sugar. And I always drink my coffee with sugar. And I was like, that's not going to stop me. I'm still going to have this coffee. But I do have some syrup. Look, I'm dedicated to the cause. I'm dedicated. And I went ahead and like, I had some syrup, some coffee syrup or whatever. I was like, that's plenty sweet. That's going to be more than enough sugar. So I mixed it and it was awful. This is the worst coffee I've ever made in my life.
But you're awake.
I'm awake and very frustrated at myself. I'm frustrated at myself. Like
funny.
All that trouble for a bad cup of coffee. How dare I? All right. What is your connection to the service?
Well, right now, I am in the Coast Guard.
Whoop whoop.
If I could talk more about my connection, my mother was in the Army.
Come on.
Right after the Vietnam War. After I was born, she went and joined the Army.
Nice.
And at the time, what was really interesting is my mother was joining at a time where they actually said you couldn't have kids. But she was trying to change her life. And so she joined the Army for like 2 years. I think you could be in the Army for that short period of time after Vietnam. And she came and got me and started off her life and was able to pay for college. My grandfather was in the Air Force. He was a lifer.
Nice.
My father was in the Air Force. His father was in the Army. My uncle was in the Marine Corps. So I married somebody who was in the Coast Guard. So, yeah, I'm very connected to the service.
Nice. Yo.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Sometimes I interview ladies and it turns out that they are the first in their family, or at least the first woman in their family to be a service member. And it's shocking. And this is a pleasant surprise to see that you're actually a legacy. Like your mom started it. So your mother was the first woman in your family to be a part of the military?
Yeah, as far as I know, yeah. She was in the Army.
Nice. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
And I love how short the contract was, because that's enough time to make up your mind. 2 years is plenty.
Yeah, she did 2 years, and she told me the Army was a party, that she loved it. And
What?
then she got out and she went to school. So yeah,
I love this story. Yo, two
yeah.
years and she paid for college. I wish.
I don't know if she paid for all the college, but I think it gave her start. It helped her start her life, especially after having me and being a single mom. So yeah,
I love this. I, that's
yeah,
beautiful. But you're the only Coast Guard woman in your family, so whoop whoop to that.
yes, yes.
So, was the Coast Guard your first branch of service?
It's so funny because when you wrote me the questions, you said I could skip it if it wasn't my first choice. But I'm going to tell you this story anyway, because my first choice was actually the Navy.
What?
And yes, and maybe I'm going to go back a little bit and talk about how in high school I was a terrible student and wanted to spend my time doing everything else but going to school, even though I went to a specialized high school in Brooklyn. I went to Brooklyn Tech.
You know what? You sounded like you were an up north person. I never knew exactly where you were
Yeah,
from, but I knew it wasn't the South.
yeah, definitely. Like I said, I was a terrible student, and I
Really?
decided I wasn't going to go to summer school one year. And little do I know, me skipping summer school was going to leave me back a year in high school. And so, with my
What?
bright ideas, I decided to leave high school and get a good enough diploma. So I got my GED when I was probably, yeah, at the end of sophomore year. I was 16. And I got my GED, and I tried to join the Navy. And the Navy was like, because, yeah, I didn't, once I'm out of school, I'm like, what do I do now? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I know that sounds very odd, but, I was a strange child. And the Navy was like, no, you don't have any college credits. Come back when you got some college credits.
Wait, what? The Navy of all branches needed college credit to enlist?
They sure did. Yeah, had to be 91. Yeah, they told me I needed
In the
college
middle of
credits.
Desert Storm, they have the nerve to have standards? The Navy? Okay.
I think what I thought about in this whole thing as I was thinking back is these things are lessons for me. So, I couldn't, shove off school. And so after getting my GED, I went back to school. I went to City College in New York up in Manhattan, and I went to school for a while. And then after school, I went to Tuskegee University. My mother helped me pay for Tuskegee. I didn't think about the military anymore.
Wow.
And then my mother couldn't afford school anymore. And I was looking through the Essence magazine. I saw this article with Join the Coast Guard. It had this woman on the advertisement with sunglasses, and she was driving a boat. And I was like, I'm going to do that because I couldn't afford school anymore.
Yeah.
And that's when I joined the Coast Guard and when I came back from Tuskegee. So,
This is what. Look, I've met you. I know who you are. You don't seem like you're not a rambunctious person. So when you say that you were a wild child or got your good enough diploma, this doesn't
yeah,
sound like you. Wow. I'm
yeah,
blown away. You've made a 180, like seriously. You are not who you used to
yeah.
be.
Well, I don't know if I was necessarily rambunctious. I just
Oh,
was,
you just didn't like school.
I, you know, I'm stubborn, I'm driven, and at the time I just wanted to play cards and hang out with my friends, and I just wasn't into school. That's all. I don't know if maybe I was rambunctious. I'm not sure, but yeah.
You
So yeah,
weren't.
that's
I
my
promise you
story.
wasn't.
So yeah, that's how I joined the Coast Guard. So I had my 30 credits, more than that, and I joined the Coast Guard. I studied for my ASVAB. I went to the recruiter, and I was gone within 30 days. I
Wow.
had a girlfriend of mine who I called, and I was like, I'm joining the Coast Guard. I'm back home, and I didn't really want to be home. I had a job.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to work to get back to school, and it was going nowhere. So I
You made a move.
Yeah, made a move. My girlfriend said, wait for me. And I was like, nah, you got to hurry up. She didn't come. So I left within 30 days. Yeah.
Did she ever end up joining?
No, she did not.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't wait.
That I knew her. And if I would have waited, I'd have missed my opportunity. I would have missed my, you know how like you get this rush of motivation to do something. You get the drive behind it, and
Yep.
It's kind of like working out. There's days you feel like working out, and there's days you don't. And I wanted to go with the momentum, so yeah, I left and went to boot camp.
Wow, I feel you. Okay.
Yeah.
What a story. So, how do you feel about your time in uniform? And does any particular time period stand out?
I know that I have an ADD, and so the job, it really it helps me do something different all the time. Every 3 to 4 years, I'm doing something different.
Okay, so this really works out for you.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for me. I've had 3 kids. I never paid a dime to have my babies. My husband, he had a point where he had some problems with his feet. I didn't pay a dime for that.
I love
I feel
that.
very blessed. I've met some really great people. I've grown a lot. I've done more things than most of my friends that I grew up with. My time in service has been very blessed. I feel very fortunate, and it's taught me a lot. So yeah, I have no regrets about my time in service. Maybe wishing that I, maybe gone to some more opportunities, but no, my time in service has been very good.
Right on.
Yeah, it's all of it. It's all of it in, what is that word? An accumulation, all of it, the cumulative effect of my career. That's not the right word.
An accumulation?
Yes, or my entire career.
Inclusive.
I would say if I would just use my whole career, it's been
summation.
Just
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a lot of words, and I don't know most of them.
Yeah. It's been a great experience for me, and maybe I'm feeling that way because I'm moving toward the end. But I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot in my career, so yeah.
I love that you have had a good time. I love that this has worked out very well for you. All right.
Yeah.
How do you think your experience could have been improved? Or could it?
I think I could have attacked more opportunities. There are times where I think maybe I was feeling a little bit demotivated, or just, not feeling like I was up to certain opportunities when they came to me. And I wish I would have just went for it, regardless of how I was feeling at the time. What other way could my experience have been improved? That's just it. I wish I would have taken advantage of a little bit more opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay. So there's nothing that anybody else could have done to have improved your time in service or improved your experience of your time in service?
When I really try to think about that, is there something else that someone else could have done for me? No.
Okay.
No, I met some great people. I have tried to surround myself with people who are either where I want to be or are trying to get to a place that I want to be. And I've really tried. I think a lesson that I've learned once in my career is I can't allow someone to control the way I feel or what I'm going to do. And now let me give you an example of that. And I don't know if this will make sense once this is out,
Go for
playing
it.
on your podcast. I remember I was stationed at Atlanta area and in Hampton Roads, Now, those of you that are on Hampton Roads, you'll remember the tunnels, and I can't remember which tunnel it was. I was going through, I believe it was the tunnel in downtown Portsmouth.
Look, the fact that you know the names of any of them, you are better than me because all of them are the tunnel to me. And I don't differentiate.
You're stationed there. You know exactly what I'm talking
about. Yeah.
So
like I didn't even
driving.
Girl, I didn't even realize there was more than one. Like I thought they was all the same tunnel.
Girl, seriously, they're awful. They're awful.
That's just me being bad with geography, though. Like I didn't know it was more than one. I thought they were all the same.
I was driving through this tunnel, and I remember there was a woman that cut in front of me. Now, you have to really understand the tunnel. When you're sitting in the tunnel, you could be waiting 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And someone cut in front of me, and I remember going ballistic, just ballistic in the car, yelling and saying everything I could in the car about this lady that cut in front of me. And I looked down, and I noticed I was in uniform. Ooh, and I remember thinking to myself, why in the world did you allow this one woman that cut in front of you to get you to act like that? Why in the world did you let her control you? And from then on, I really felt that no matter what anybody does to me, I can't allow them to control where I think I need to go. I can't allow them to control the way I feel or what I do or my actions. And so when you ask me that question,
mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times when I've met people in my career that have been challenging, and let me tell you, there has been people that have been challenging, I think to myself, so one, what can I get out of this? Where do I want to go? And do I want to allow this person to be in control of where I go next, no matter who they are? And I think that is really what I've lived by, trying to maneuver myself, regardless of what happened to me, to get me to where I need to be. So, no.
All right.
No. I've really tried in my career to plan out, getting further and further up that ladder and being where I wanted to be. So, yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. Now, tell me about a time when you experienced something, either good or bad, that you know to be unique to you because you are a Black woman.
Okay.
It could be good or bad. Like sometimes people do nice things for Black ladies just because they know, we got it bad.
No, I wrote this down because it was really important to me. And I don't know if you knew this, but I used to push boots. I was a company commander for a period of time.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. And now I'm scared of you. Yo, no, once again, I've met you. You have a very calm demeanor. You have a very soft voice. And y'all are the worst.
I don't know what in the world made me want to go be a company commander.
Y'all are the silent killers.
I wanted to teach people. I thought it would be fun. I thought it would be interesting.
For who? You thought it'd be fun for who?
I know, right? When I think about my past self, I'm wondering, what was she doing? So I just thought it would be a good thing. It'd be great. It would, help me with my evals. It would get me to step out of myself. And it actually did, because I was more introverted than I am now. And it taught me how to teach and get in front of people, and how that nervousness is something that it's important. it helps you. It builds you up to be able to do those things that you never thought you would do. And breaking those barriers is really good for you and good for your character. But anyway, so I'm a company commander. I'm a second class. Yes, I was a second class and went there.
Wow.
And I saw this black captain, female, come up the ladder well. And let me
Wait,
tell
you
you.
saw a black lady captain when you were a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know her
Yes,
name?
ma'am. That's a big deal. I mean, people don't
That
think
is a
that's
big deal, yes.
now, but that was a big deal back then to me because I had never seen one before.
Look,
Ever,
I can only
ever,
name
ever,
two.
ever.
So which one did you see? We're probably
No,
not thinking about
she
the
was
same.
part of Navy. She was actually like she was one of those Navy doctors, but that had come to the Coast Guard and was a captain. I still hadn't seen
Gotcha.
one before.
Right. Hey,
And so
that's a big deal. You're right. You're right.
She walked in and I said, "Attention on deck," because I was so proud. And it was just really a defining moment for me because I'd never seen that, ever. So I could tell she was kind of like, she wasn't annoyed, but I know she felt, very self-conscious with me doing that. But I mean, I think that if I could tell her now, I would tell her, wow, it was such a big deal for me to see that because it made me feel that I could have an opportunity to move really, really high. Regardless, I didn't know in my mind that, she wasn't really Coast Guard. She was a medical doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But still.
Right. That's still a big deal.
Yeah. So when I think of that, I think about when I was a school chief. I don't know because we were in Alameda, but after I was in Alameda, I went up to Petaluma and I was a school chief for IT school, a job I had always wanted. So I was doing that. And when I first got there, I had all these ET students, female ET students, come up to me and tell me how important it was for them to see another Black woman or just a woman. I mean, I had females that weren't of color coming up to me telling me how important that was to see a female in that type of role. Because, a lot of us, we don't go into STEM careers.
Right.
So that's really important as well. I had an actual chief come up to me and tell me that when she used to work the front desk, people didn't think she was in IT because, especially young people, because they didn't see a woman as an IT. When I started at the A school, she knew something was different because the students didn't naturally assume that she wasn't in IT anymore. So when I think of some of the good things about being a Black woman in the Coast Guard, and those are things I think about, how that is important to be able to see yourself. Representation means a lot. So.
Oh my God, that was beautiful. I loved that story. I loved all those stories. Those were important.
Oh.
It's important to hear, and it's wonderful to know. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
If I may, and I will absolutely
Sure.
I will absolutely cut this part out if it makes you uncomfortable. There is one other thing that I know that has happened to you because you are a Black lady. A really, really good thing. Once upon a time, there was a very important lady in the Coast Guard that passed named Angela McShann. And I believe, I believe you and a lot of other Black ladies went to the commissioning ceremony of her cutter. This was a couple of years back. I saw that picture, and it was important for me to see. It was beautiful. I needed to see it. It was important. So
was it the Master Chief one or the Commander one?
Oh my God, there was.
Because we did both.
I think you did. Okay, I definitely saw the Master Chief one. That was incredible to see because I didn't know there was that many of y'all. Like for real.
Yeah.
But then I also saw the Commander one. It was just nice to see all those. It was a splendid picture to look at. It was all these beautiful Black women. It was
beautiful.
Yeah, that should have been.
Was.
Now that should have been in essence.
My mother took that picture even the one that I wasn't in, and she has it. And the one with me in it, of course, she has coming up displayed. But she took that picture as well because, yeah, people don't understand. That's a beautiful thing. It
It
really
is.
is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. How did what was the vibe that day? And once again, I can cut this out. It's all good. Um, what was the vibe that day? Just meeting those other high-ranking black ladies. Because I know in your job and in any department, especially in the Coast Guard, you're not surrounded by that many black people and especially black women. Like for the most part, you're kind of isolated. So how was that like to see all those other people that looked like
Well,
you?
it's kind of like, I don't know if other people listening will understand this. It's like when you go to the Chiefs Academy and then all of a sudden there's like 50 Chiefs around, and all of a sudden you could just take off all those layers and you could just be yourself. Um, and there's that again with that feeling and that sense of community. And what people don't know is the day before that, we all went to dinner together. So we all were
What?
around each other the day prior. Um, so it was just really nice to see, one, that the Coast Guard was actually going to name a cutter after this woman
Mm-hmm.
who had inspired and was able to make it to Master Chief.
Mm-hmm.
That was just wonderful to see. And two, it was great to see like a room full of all of us, because it wasn't just females that were there. I mean, people came and dusted off their hats, and I saw an old captain a couple of old captains that I was stationed with that came out. So it wasn't just women that were there. There was a whole bunch of people that were there celebrating that. And it was a really great time. It really was.
I love that you experienced that. Love it.
Yeah. I
Oh.
kept my poster. I'm looking forward to framing it when I have my knee room. So, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. All right. Now, when you brought complaints to your chain of command, and I'm sorry to kill the vibe like this. This is the next question
No,
up.
you didn't kill it.
I'm sorry to kill the vibe, but the next question up is when you brought complaints to your chain of command, do you feel that you were heard?
Okay. As you move further and further up, you recognize that complaints aren't helpful. Um, what's more helpful is advising, giving solutions. Um, so now, I mean, I think that I've been a chief a lot longer now, so I could really talk about more recent times than when I was younger. Um, I have never had a bad experience advising the command, or giving my impressions, or what would be the right word? Letting them know that certain things are going on. Now, if you're asking, because I think there's a difference between advising the command and giving a solution, and the command deciding maybe that's not the best solution for them. And that happens a heck of a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, especially now, that, I'm more senior, I understand that sometimes um, the solutions that we think might be the answer may not be the answer, and it's a lot more complicated than we know because we don't have all the pieces to the puzzle. And man, I never thought I would say something like that as an E5, but I'm going to tell you that being more senior in the service, I understand that more. That being a leader, it's not binary or black and white. It's a lot more shades. There's a lot more nuances to that. So if I'm going to talk about the last, how long I made Ethan, oh my God. What year was Ronan born? 2007? Yeah, I mean, I had to bring up my son because that's how I keep track.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say that advising the command, no, I haven't had an issue with that. I think when you say bring complaints, I just think that if that, and for your listeners, if that is what you're doing, then that is the first thing that you should change. What is that when you say, I used to say this all the time and I'm getting old.
What, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions?
No,
No.
constructive feedback is always welcome. Complaints, nah, not so much. I mean, I can complain about the food, but, if I don't have any solutions, maybe put a little bit of salt in it. I don't know. It's not really helping me. So I think that it's really important that, especially when it comes to the command, that you might, instead of making it a complaint, instead think about, and I say write it down because that's just me and my brain. I usually write things down so that I could be able to explain things so that people can understand them. I'm not always very good when I'm very emotional with my words. And really look at the problem by writing it down and see if you can find some solutions. And I think that command is a lot more open to constructive feedback with solutions. And I've never had an issue with that. Now, like I said earlier, if you're talking about whether or not I gave solutions and they actually, decided to use those solutions, that's something else. And I will tell you that as someone who's more senior and experiencing that sometimes those solutions really aren't the best solutions in that particular instance. Okay. And maybe sometimes it is, and maybe they decide a command decides they don't want to do it a particular way. And, that sometimes that happens. But yeah, I've never had any issue.
But also, it is worth noting, you've been a leader in the Coast Guard longer than you were not a leader, right?
Yeah, I did bring up 2007, didn't I? That's horrible. Good God.
So
that was a long time ago.
So you made forgive me if I messed this one up. 2007. You made Chief, right? Or was that?
Yeah, I did.
All right,
I did.
Okay. So 2007 was let's see. I want to say is that 16 years ago? I'm real bad at math.
God. No, you're right because my son is 16.
Okay.
So yes, that is true.
So you have spent more time as a leader than you did as a non-leader. All right.
Okay, I'm not good at public math. Okay.
No, that's neither. Look, neither am I. I'm sitting right in front of.
I'm not very good at public math. I think you're totally right.
Friend, I'm right in front of a computer with access to a calculator that I could have done this on. So, not only am I not good at math, I'm also just not good at pulling up apps that could help me with math. I suffered through this math problem the old-fashioned way, and I didn't have to.
I think I'm more embarrassed about the time period, not anything else. I'm more embarrassed about that. But yeah.
All right. At the beginning of your career, when you needed guidance and mentorship, were those resources provided for you, or did you have to seek them out?
I'm thinking.
And I know you need a mentorship, Miss Good Enough Diploma.
I did. I did. I'm thinking that I had to seek them out. When I became a petty officer, I was at the time a TC. And we just stood watches. So,
man, did you say TC? That's not even a rate anymore.
Yeah, so I would find different people like on my watch section that would help me out, or.
But just for the record, if you don't mind, what does TC stand for?
Oh, telecommunications specialist.
Okay.
So, I always, I had people help me. There's no way I would have made it through all these years without people helping me. And most of those people were not people of color that helped me out in my career, that helped guide me or gave me advice, or maybe they were a personality that was really helpful to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it was me seeking things out. I mean, as a TC, we saw a lot of the message traffic before everybody else back in the day. Now everyone can see it. But so I felt that, you know, when I wanted to be a CC, or a company commander, I saw the message and I was like, that'll seem interesting. I mean, you think about a lot of things during a mid-watch when you want to do things like, wow, you know, I really like these computers, and I learned that when I was a TC. How can I do more with computers? You know, I'm on a mid-watch. Well, maybe I could read these books about, you know, Windows NT and get more into computers, and maybe I can become a system administrator. So a lot of those things you know, I wanted to do. So I don't know if that's the word. Would you say, like, seek them out?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I went out for that.
Okay.
And then I would ask advice from people that I knew that were doing it. Oh, you work with computers. How'd you do that?
Right.
It's not like now, like today, I work at EPM4. EPM4 is about mentoring people and about helping people with their career and helping them figure out which direction they want to go for career growth and professional growth. There wasn't any of that when I was in a second class. No, you used your chief or your first class is who you talked to. And I was on watch, so there wasn't anybody else around. There's no yeoman at work. You know.
Are you firing shots now?
No, but I mean, those are the people that, you know, you would ask questions of, because, you know, when we got off a watch, you know, usually we go to see the yeoman. I really didn't see much of anybody else. We didn't go to chow. We stood watch. You know, so yeah, I would think early in my career, I was able to read message traffic, and I looked for people who could help answer those questions.
Okay. Yeah. You were an active participant in finding your own mentorship. That's important.
Yeah.
You knew to do it.
And I
You knew
found
to ask
people
questions.
that were around me. Yeah.
Good. All right. I do love this next question.
Okay.
All right. Have you been able to make friends with other Black lady veterans? Are you purposeful about building your village?
I liked this question.
You liked it? You don't like it anymore?
No, I like this question. When I was younger, I would say early in my career, oh yeah. And I think the friends that I made when I was between E3 and E6, I'm still friends with today.
Good. Good.
I think as I moved up, it became a little bit harder. I've been stationed in several different places, and as I looked around, there's not many of us. So when you do see somebody, of course, you know, you check in and make sure everything is all right with that person. You know, and see whether or not you can be each other's support system. But I also feel like, you know, within my career, I've made a village of people who are not of color. And it's not just because, you know, there wasn't a lot of Black women around. It's just because being in the Coast Guard, there's just not as much opportunity, and you have all these people around you with all these, you know, diverse thinking. And because I like to think about that when I think of diversity, I don't like to think about color or that kind of stuff, because I think people forget there's also people that think just differently, and I consider myself sort of like a nerd or a geek. So when you find those people, they're really important to get those people in your life. And learn from them.
Right on.
So.
And just to add on to your geek comment, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, just
I'm okay with that.
No,
yeah, I'm okay with that.
Actually, to add on to the village part of this answer, you actually are a phenomenal village member. Not only did you get good village when you were making your way up the ranks, but you also are just, you're a good guidance for lower ranking people. Black women look to you. Like you already said, like when you were at, I think, school chief, other women were looking to you. And you were giving them answers. You were talking to them. You were giving them what they came to you for. But also, you and I worked very closely. All right, we didn't work together, but we worked in the same building. That's,
Yeah.
yeah, and I remember lightly mentioning that I was interested in a cybersecurity career. Friend, you gave me so many good links. You hooked me up with, and like, I don't work in cybersecurity now, but a lot of the things that I learned from those links you gave me is useful right now in the career that I do use.
Wow.
Yeah. See? Your village.
I had no idea. Yeah, I had no idea. But yeah, I think that's
Did you
important.
even remember
And that's
giving me
kind
that
of
information?
No. No.
And that's not even a bad thing. Like, that just means you did it without even, like, it was second nature. You didn't think of it as a big deal. You probably do it a lot for a lot of people. And I'm just another person that benefited from your wealth of knowledge.
No, I feel like that's well, for me. I don't know if you could tell by my career. I was a company commander. I was at a school as an instructor, as an IT instructor. I went back as the school chief. Right now, I work in career advising. That's just who I am. That's who I am as a person. I like talking to young people, regardless of who they are. I like getting their feedback and seeing what what's on their mind. What are they thinking? I like giving them advice. That's who I am. So
And it's useful advice
that's
too.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome that I was able to help you.
Absolutely.
Even if it was that you didn't become, you didn't go into computers. Even so,
No, but I still, like, the links that you gave me, the websites you put me onto, I still was able to use information from those sites in my current career. So,
oh, that's awesome.
yeah, I'm still grateful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you. Now, if you don't mind,
Sure.
I would like for you to tell me a war story. A story where you were tested but came out on top. Now, I want you to be the hero.
Gosh.
Be the hero in your story. And if this is going to be a company commander story, I'm cutting it out. I'm kidding.
I gotta tell you, this is the question that I was like, man, I need a week to think about this.
You were never tested? Come on.
Well, I feel like, listen to everything I've told you. I feel like since I came in the Coast Guard, I've been tested, even trying to join the military. That's just, my path is about being tested and about understanding that, it takes hard work. It takes preparation.
Mm-hmm.
It takes, as I tell my kids, sometimes it takes a little longer to get to where you want to be. You have to get the soil ready. You got to plant the seeds, and then you have to wait for it to grow, and then the flowers come. It's not something that happens automatically or quickly. So I think my whole, me getting my GED, me finally, going back in the military. And I didn't add that I've got my bachelor's degree. I have my master's degree in cybersecurity. So those, this has all been building. And I think if I'm going to say my war story is just basically getting to where I needed to be and where I wanted to be, like being, what is that word? Being focused on that and not letting anything stop me from doing that, regardless of where I was at. I knew that I wanted to get my master's. I still focused on getting my master's. I knew that I wanted to try to be a school chief, so I worked on that. And of course, there's been times where I haven't gone to where I wanted to be or gotten where I wanted to be. But I think that those things in itself are blessings as well. And then you figure out what is the lesson in that particular instance or in that particular time in your life. And you learn from that. And you keep moving forward. So when I think of a war story, there's no particular story in the Coast Guard where I triumphed. I think this is all a triumph for me. And that's just me. I really try hard, as I said in the beginning, and I think where that whole thing I got that from, not letting other people affect my path, was from, what is that book? The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Seriously, it was one of those things where you don't let those people affect who you are or what state you're going to be in. And you continue to go the direction that you are focused on. So, because I thought about this question, I want to tell you, I was trying to think of a particular time, but honestly, I try. I shouldn't say I don't give, because I definitely have worked on it. I try not to give someone that much of my energy. I just don't. And the focus becomes back again to my path and where do I want to go and what I need to do. Okay, that didn't work. Now let's see if this does. So I don't know if that answers anybody's question about a great war story. I just don't have one. I just don't have one.
My life is a war story. No.
Hello, you know?
I heard it. But we're not going to glaze over the fact that you just told me that you are a Master Chief with 2 master's degrees. All right.
Just one, but thank you.
We are not glazing over that one now.
Yeah, just one.
You better get
it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You better get it. I love it.
Yeah. I think I'm proud of those things. I feel like that's part of my journey, you know.
I'm proud of you. We all proud of you now.
Yeah. So that.
Look, come on. And once again, I can cut this next part out if you want me to. But what you just told me is that you went from having you still have a GED, all the way up to number 1, E9, number 2, master's degree, and number 3, the first Black woman in your rate to reach your rank. From a GED? Are you serious? Like that's better than a war story. That's a testimony.
Yeah, amen. And you know, I think that's really important. That you can learn from your mistakes, that you can move on, and you can. I don't like to say that. You know, it wasn't easy. I'm not going to say that. Definitely wasn't. But I do believe that that in itself, to me, was challenging. And I feel like, you know, that's kind of like my achievement. And I feel like I've done pretty well. If I leave the Coast Guard at this point with that, I'm doing really good.
You did damn good. Really yeah, you did very, very, very well. Kidding me? You're a legend. All right. You're in Coast Guard history books now. Yeah. You did that. All right. Now, do you, as an E9, as someone who has achieved all the ranks, do you feel that the way you were treated has improved with rank?
Oh, hell yeah. Yes, definitely. That you know, there's some bad things about that as well, because you really have to be careful about what you say, because, you know, as a person of rank, sometimes you can offend somebody and you don't know, because people are being overly nice to you or being very respectful to you because of your rank. Mm-hmm. But yeah, of course. But like I said, I think that is a double-edged sword, because you also really don't get the same honesty, I think. And as you heard before, I'm a type of person, I want to know what's going on the ground level. I want to know, you know, what people are feeling. I want to help people. Mm-hmm. And that becomes a lot more difficult the further up you go. So, you know, that's a double-edged sword. But I feel like being a Master Chief is really about influence, and being able to influence change. And that's really important.
Right.
That overrides the negatives of it.
Right on. Now, do you feel that the improvement that you got with treatment would have happened sooner had you not been a Black woman? If you were a different race and gender, do you feel like you would have been treated nicer sooner?
What I feel is that
Ooh,
as a woman, I think I've always had to kind of like prove myself in that sense. So I'm going to say that, I don't know the rank portion, but I definitely feel it's more difficult, especially in the STEM field, for people to actually believe that you're a good tech, or that you're knowledgeable about something. So I think you feel, and I've known a lot of women that feel this way, that you feel like you have to know more, you have to study more.
And boy, do
I don't
you.
know if,
Master's degree.
yeah, yeah. I don't know whether or not it's a more of a Master Chief thing or just more in general. Because even when I was younger, I think, or younger in service, I think that was something that was always challenging for me. Is I wanted people to know that, hey, I could do it. I'm good. I can figure this out. And when I couldn't figure it out, because there's always those specific times as well, I wanted them to know it's just because I'm just like everybody else. I need help sometimes too. So yeah.
I respect all of that. Thank you for sharing that. Has there ever been a tough situation you were in where another sister helped you out, or a situation where you were able to help out another sister?
So,
come on, Village.
I'm thinking about this, and I got to tell you, I wrote some of this down so I can go back to it and see what I wrote. So when I left being a company commander, I went down to San Juan, Puerto Rico. I was stationed down there, and I wore braids one day. I remember someone telling me, hey, you can't have those braids in. And, at the time, I was first class, but I didn't understand how important it is to know your resources and your regulations and your manuals and your references. So I was just learning that because I just made first class going down there. And I remember there was a YNC in Cape May, and we never really spoke. Let me just be honest. I worked on the regiment. She, worked in admin. She was a chief. I was a first. So, there's that as well. She was a chief. So I kind of, very respectful distance, But I remember I emailed her when I was a first, and I told her, hey, I'm having some problems. Some people say I can't have braids here, but I know I can because I wore them in Cape May. And I knew very well that if I couldn't wear braids, they would have told me in Cape May I couldn't wear braids.
Absolutely.
So I asked her, and she sent me this mass amount of references that I was able to give to the command. Because the truth is, you would think, because I've always been stationed at pretty big units, or at least a city, those places are more in tune with some of the manual changes. But there's a lot of units that aren't. So she sent me all this stuff, and I gave it to them, and I walked around with my braids. And after that, I made sure I shined my boots more and made sure everybody understood that I was once at Cape May. So I knew my regulations, but I really didn't. I emailed somebody. I emailed somebody to help me out. So, but yeah,
well, good. You got the help that you needed.
Really helped. Yeah, and that was really important to me, and it really brought out to me that we weren't friends or anything like that. But the fact that she helped me out, and I know she dug into some resources to really help me, really taught me to pass that along when I was first class. So yeah, have I helped others? I try to all the time. And I can't tell you certain instances, I know that I've been a lot of mass reps. I've been a lot of, just speak to people about different things, give people advice. There are people that are introduced to me, especially, if they're interested in seeing a senior Black female, if they're interested in seeing a senior female, or if they're interested in IT or whatever. So
you are every woman.
yeah.
It's all in you.
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, even myself, if I feel like I can't explain things the way someone can understand it, and there's somebody else that's a much better storyteller than I am, or that's funny, and that could, then I recommend that they speak to someone else. Sometimes that's just the right person for people to speak to. So yes, I've definitely spoken to a lot of people and referred a lot of people. So yeah.
Okay. The part of that question that you definitely answered, you answered both parts beautifully, and thank you. The second part was, have you ever helped out, or has there ever been a situation where you helped out another sister?
Yes.
Hold on, you slightly mentioned that you've been a lot of masked reps, and I just want to know how many black women are getting masked, because now I'm mad. We not skating past that now.
It hasn't been a lot, but I definitely.
It feels like it's been enough.
It's not just females; it's males too. I've always offered.
All right.
I've always offered.
I am uncomfortable knowing that
sisters
are getting
I've
masked.
had people that not of color This is when I was like a chief. So I've had a lot of different people, but I really try to, because there's been times in my career where I feel that sometimes it's very difficult for Black women to see themselves and to see themselves being treated fairly. And so, a lot of times I volunteer myself so that, I could make it easier and explain the situation better for people and represent them in a way that's respectful for them and the command. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing. I appreciate the clarity. Because, I was over here heated.
No. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, I got you.
I not only give advice, I help people when they're in trouble as well.
I love it.
Because that's important. That's important that each person know that regardless of if they're Black or white, that everything, this too shall pass. You get over your hump, and you recover from it. You start that recovery process. And I'm not the type of person to turn away from somebody just because they're going through a hard time. I think that each of us has our challenges. So.
Wow. This is just a very quick tangent, a very quick side note. What I love about these, interviews, Black women, especially in leadership roles, or actually just Black women in general, when it comes to helping out other service members, other sisters, just other people in general, you're so generous with your time. You're so generous with your energy. You're so kind and so giving. Like you're such a giver. And I love that we give so freely our wisdom, that we're always willing to pass that on and to share the knowledge, share the wisdom with others that may not have any other resource available. Like you may be that person, that woman, that service member's only resource. You don't know, but you're going to help them out regardless. So I love how generous we are with our wisdom and our knowledge. We don't hoard knowledge. And I love that about us.
Yeah, that's true.
I love that. All right. Do you feel that you are a better leader than the ones you grew up under?
You know what? I'm not going to say I'm a better leader. I'm going to say that I think that each generation has their challenges. And this is what I remember when I saw this question. You remember me saying that I became a chief in 2007. Mm-hmm. And when I first became a chief, I think, we had some salty people back then. Ooh, salts. And a lot of them hadn't been around a female chief before, let alone a Black female chief. Mm-hmm. So I think,
Now, hold
one
on.
of the things that...
Was that salt or was that racism and misogyny?
It was salt.
What?
I have a girlfriend. I have a girlfriend where they told her straight to her face, I don't believe women should be chiefs. Okay,
so that is also misogyny.
Yeah. And, and I'm never, let me just be honest. And for those people that are listening, when you talk about one group of people, I'm on alert because I know that if you're definitely talking about women, mm-hmm. I know that you're talking about Black women. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I think that, that's really important that when you say something out of your mouth, just be very careful what you say. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm just going to put that out there. When I was younger, I got a lot of, a chief is supposed to be blah, 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 blah. And we're not talking about a chief is supposed to have honor, respect, devotion to duty, things like that. We're talking about a chief had very specific qualities that were sometimes very misogynistic, mm-hmm. Quite, I don't know, maybe you've been, salt to your bones. I don't know what that is. And I'm trying to be, I'm trying to be very lighthearted here. So I think one of the things that I'm going to give people that were leaders before me a little grace. It was different then. Very, very different. It's kind of like when I have a favorite movie of mine. It's with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can't remember. It's about Mars.
Was it Total Recall?
Total Recall. Have you ever watched Total Recall today?
I mean, not today, but like in recent years and as a child, yes.
Remember the Black character?
Yes.
Now, when I watch it now, I'm thinking, wow, that is some...
Yep.
Who in the world would let this man act like this? I would never... This is so derogatory toward Black people. Yeah. That's just how I would feel, mm-hmm. Because mm-hmm. just the way who would do that?
You are correct.
Today. And I'm going to say that the same thing is for a lot of chiefs that were in that generation. There's been a lot of changes in the last couple of years, and maybe it's not the last couple. Hey, you said I've been a chief the last 16 years. There's been a lot of changes in the last 16 years. So I'm going to say that I think that the definition of what a chief is has now become more diverse, has now become more open and wider, because now there's different people that are becoming chiefs. And like I said, I'm not just talking about women of color. I'm not just talking about women. I'm talking about personality-wise. And I think that all those people are still chiefs. We all have different personalities and characteristics, but we still have some common things in common. If I'm going to use those old things, honor, respect, devotion to duty, leadership qualities. So I would say that I'm going to give folks before me a little bit of grace because it was a different time. It really was a different time, and I'm very hopeful that the Coast Guard will continue to be progressive and grow as far as leadership and expand. So, yeah, I don't want to say I'm a better leader. I'm just going to say it's different, because probably there's some certain things that I'm going to say today in 20 years they're going to think is whack. So I'm giving a little bit of grace.
Do you feel that the people that work under you feel safe when they talk to you?
hope so. I know sometimes they might not feel safe because maybe what's on my collar, but I hope so. I hope that I'm not making people feel alienated. I can say that I probably not now. I mean, right now, I have chiefs that are that I work with that are part of my team. But when I was in the A school, I would hope not. That I hope that people feel like they can come talk to me about something, and if they can't come talk to me, to at least have someone else that they feel comfortable talking to come talk to me about something that they have a concern with. So,
Did you feel safe under your chain of command, under your previous chain of commands, like when you were in E4, E5, E6? Did you feel comfortable going to them, talking to them, if you had an issue?
I felt comfortable talking to my first. So, but I feel comfortable talking to my Master Chief. I did, but to a certain degree, no, because there's a certain level of respect and that you have, and also you're told follow the chain. So I never felt uncomfortable, but there was just a certain line that I didn't cross, and certain things that I might tell my first, who hopefully, if I was having issues, would pass that up. Yeah, but no, I never felt uncomfortable talking to my Master Chief. Even back when I was a third. As a matter of fact, yeah, I think when I was a third, my Master Chief was a very gruff man who was he actually wrote code. And I think I talked to him about that. He was with this group of people that wrote a game that was kind of like Age of Empires, and I'm dating myself. So I remember talking to him about that. And I remember him telling me I should not be a company commander. I ignored him. So I did, I didn't feel comfortable talking to them. No.
All right. Are there any sisters in the service that inspire you? Past, present?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to bring this up because I have locks. And when
Really?
I saw...
Congratulations.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Last time I saw you, you didn't have them. But congratulations. I bet they're very pretty.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But it's such a wonderful transition for me. And the first person I saw was Phaedra Hooker. And when I saw her, I was in awe. And I think I followed her around and just stared. And I went up to her, and I was a Master Chief. Let me tell you, and she was a badge, and I remember asking her, and I knew I was going to get my hair locked. When they said you could lock your hair, mm-hmm. I remember where I was. I remember where I was, and I remember thinking I'm going to lock it.
Wait, do you remember what year it was?
Years. It was recently. I remember I was stationed in Alameda.
Was it?
You had to be there.
We did not work
during a Coast Guard day. Someone showed it to me.
You and I did not work together in Alameda. But if it was recent, was it maybe 2020-ish? 2020. All right.
Yeah, 1 or 2. Because I remember when it wasn't allowed.
Right. I'm just going to use this opportunity to shout out my first episode, because that is the woman who wrote that instruction that allowed you to get locks.
Thank you. I you know what? Thank you. I mean, it takes a village. I appreciate that. I feel very, very free.
She's a smart, brilliant, and very intuitive lady.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Call me. Let's talk.
All the way.
Yes. I'll be honest with you, because it has really changed my world. I used to wear wigs all the time, and no. I just wanted to be myself,
I love it.
And it's so, I think it's just very freeing for me to to wear my hair the way it's grown out of my head. That's just very freeing for me. So shout out to Phaedra Hooker. I don't know what you're doing, but I appreciate you. Captain Cunningham.
Ooh,
I don't know if you remember her, but she was in, she worked at old TISCOM. And so I remember her because she was in STEM.
Nice.
There's not a lot of us.
You are correct.
So, and of course I have my friends, but those are the two that I can really think about. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm hoping you keep in touch with them, sort of? Or at least
I just tried to friend Captain Cunningham. I will see if she friends me back. But
I'm going to put this episode in her inbox.
Yeah, but yeah, she probably doesn't know who I am, but I remember people always talked about her, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't know she was Black until I saw her on Facebook. I didn't.
No, I mean, it is that way sometimes.
It's something for a woman to be in STEM. It's something for a woman to be in STEM, then to add that on, you're a woman of color, you're a Black woman. I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
That, like I said, representation matters because it makes people feel that, yes, even I can. And I think that that's really important. And it helps other people see that, yes, even they can.
Right.
They don't put us in boxes because, as humans, we love to put people in boxes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good
So, those are the two that I can think about. There's many, many more.
Of course.
But those two were on my mind very quickly.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to drop this episode in the inbox.
And Phaedra, because she was a badge. And there wasn't a lot of them.
Phaedra.
There wasn't a lot of them.
All right.
She's a gold badge. Yeah.
Good for her. Big shot. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say you were just starting your life out on your own and you were presented with the chance to join the service for the first time. Knowing what you know now, would you still join?
Yeah. I mean, you heard my story.
After this interview, I already knew where this was going. I knew the answer, but I had to ask anyways.
You heard I said I'd probably try the Space Force first, but
nice.
I like computers.
Nice.
I don't mean that. I love the Coast Guard, but yeah, I'd probably check out the Space Force. I mean, yeah, look at that opportunity. But yeah, I would join the Coast Guard.
Absolutely.
I'm okay with my kids joining the Coast Guard. I think the Coast Guard, they try to be very progressive, and I give them that. They try. And there's racism in the world. I think, when you look at society in general, especially now, all of it is like the covers are up, So you see a lot of what's going on in society, and the military can't be separated from that. The people that are outside in the civilian sector now are the ones who join the Coast Guard. And my hope is that being in the Coast Guard, they work with people that don't look like them. They work with women. They work with people with different personalities. And they don't just, I remember they used to say tolerance. It's not about tolerance. It's learning how to work with people. It's learning how to appreciate the differences. And I always like the word synergy. It's about really understanding that it's our differences that make us stronger, and how great ideas get out there. You're not going to get great ideas by having the same group of people with the same environment in one spot. It's about people from different places, different thoughts, making the biggest impact, I think. So I don't even know if I answered your question, but that was just me rambling off.
Nope, ramble away. I loved the whole thing. We keeping it.
Yeah.
If you had a daughter, and I already know the answer to this one because you just answered it, but it's a part of It's part of the lineup.
Okay.
If you had a daughter or any impressionable young black girl in your life that you cared about and she was considering joining a life in the military, would you try to talk her out of joining?
No. No. Now I would call her and ask her what's going on. I mean, I want to know.
I want to know why you want to join the military.
Well, more of, what are you experiencing? Is somebody bothering you? Are you feeling like things are unfair? Then, I want to talk to her about it, because I'm going to help my little girl out.
Right on. Right on.
I think, there's a process for that.
Mm-hmm.
And but I would never talk them out. I just think, some of the benefits are just, there's so many benefits. And I think it teaches people how to, I hear this thing called adulting. My kids talk about that.
Yes.
And I think that it teaches people how to be independent and how to be on their own. It's like a little booster chair. gives you some skills so you can get out there and be able to take care of yourself and be able to move to a new environment.
Right on.
I would. There's so many experiences to be had. Why in the world would you want to stay here? Don't stay here.
Right
I'm staying here because I'm retiring. You go out into the world. You go out into the world and figure out where you belong. There's nothing wrong with that. So no.
Recruitment and retention is down across all the branches and with all demographics. Black women are not excluded from that. This was true even before the pandemic. Why do you think black women are so disinterested in joining the military?
I don't know. I will say that I actually looked at the RAND study, and the RAND study actually says when black women join, they actually stay longer than any other underrepresented minority. But I don't know why black women, why initially they don't join. I feel like I was just in California, and I was talking to my son, and I actually brought my son up and his friend up to the A school once. And I think speaking from their perspective, they had a different perspective of the military. They thought it was all about, I don't know, maybe yelling all day long, and you had to be in your uniform 24/7. I don't, I think maybe people have just the wrong perception of what the military is like. And it could be difficult for some people to move and to go to different places and reacclimate themselves every 4 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Would I recommend it for black women? Yeah, I would. Now, I'm not saying specifically the Coast Guard, because the Coast Guard doesn't have a high percentage of underrepresented minorities in the Coast Guard, but the Army sure does have a lot of minorities, or the Marine Corps, or the Air Force. So, I'm not saying, and, sometimes the military isn't for everybody. I'm definitely not pushing the military on people that don't feel like this would be a great lifestyle for them. But I would definitely, any person I meet, I think that's the first thing out of my mouth, even for my family. One of my cousins, I talk about it. He's not a female, but I definitely talk about it. It's just that, like I said, I think it's the perception of the lifestyle.
Okay.
And they feel like they're more free at, living the life that they live. So I can't fault them for that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Look, there was no wrong answer.
Yeah, I
I'm sorry.
definitely can't fault
Let me
people for
take that back. There was no right answer, no wrong answer. So,
Yeah, yeah. I can't fault people for not wanting to join.
right on. If you
Yeah.
were if you were conducting this interview from where I'm sitting, what question would you have asked you that I did
I
not?
would have.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would have. See, I was ready for this question. See, I wrote this down.
Look, I'm here for it.
Yeah. I would have asked me, "What's your favorite movie?"
Man, come on. I know
That's a good icebreaker.
I know it's not
Ask
Total
me.
Recall.
It's not, but I do like science fiction movies. So it's like I put The Matrix.
Okay.
I Yeah, or if you read any good books lately.
Have you?
Those are the only two questions I would ask.
Friend, have you read any good books lately?
Uh, Actually, yes, I have. I actually read a lot of audiobooks on my commute home, and I read a lot of books. So right now I'm reading The Alchemist, which I love.
Oh, get
Um,
it. All right.
have you read that? I think it's by Paul. I can't pronounce his last
I
name. It
have
starts
heard
with a
about
C.
it. I've not heard
It's
anything
a
bad about
very
it.
good book.
I do want to get into it though.
Listen to it on audiobook. It's awesome. This is the second time I'm listening to it. I also love, I don't know if you saw the movie on Apple, Silo, but the book was, mwah, it was great. The
Silo.
book
What's
is
that about?
called, it's kind of like dystopian.
Okay.
It's called Wool. And what it's about, the end of maybe I should say the end of the world, but basically, and all the humans are, they have to stay within these silos under the ground for 500 years until
What?
the earth or the atmosphere is clean enough for them to come outside. Yes, I am a nerd. I did
Wow.
watch Star Trek all the time. Um, so yeah,
Star Trek. Are
those
you
are the
also into Star
questions.
Wars?
A little, but not really.
Oh, you're a
Star
Trekkie, but
Trek.
not okay.
Yes, I've seen all. Well, yeah. Last night, while I was freaking doing laundry, I watched Deep Space Nine.
Nice.
So yeah, I love Star Trek.
Look,
So
I
that's what I
tried
would
to get into
ask me.
Star Trek. I tried because it was on Netflix, and I think it still is. I wanted to start like from the very beginning, so that I would, be able to have coherent conversations with people like you.
Do you mean like the one from the '60s?
Absolutely, yes, the one with oh god, Nichelle Nichols. Yeah.
Nope.
No,
Nope.
what
I
you
can see
wait?
from now
You
that
didn't
you
see
should
that?
start with that.
Wait, so don't start with the beginning? What?
No,
What?
no. I love the ones with Captain Kirk. I mean, they
Yeah,
were groundbreaking. Um,
they were
I would start
cute.
with
Like
Next Generation for you.
start next gen.
Yeah.
Look, you want me to start the next generation without knowing the first generation?
Yeah. Or, they've had before that generation, before Kirk. I mean, now they have the one with, my gosh, I'm ashamed of myself. I can't remember who it was that gave Captain Kirk a chance, and he has a show, and it's brand new. It's called Something Worlds. I just watched it. Ooh, I know what you should watch, and this should be off. You don't have to record this. I will text it to you, and it's about a black female commander, and I forgot the name of the damn show, which I should. I just know the Star Treks, and that
What?
is epic. You know
Star
what I'm
Trek
talking about,
has
don't
a
you?
black lady commander,
Yes, ma'am.
and now I want to see
Yes.
it. Now I'm
Yes, ma'am.
now I'm invested.
Yes. I'm gonna send it to you. Send you the name of it, and if you see it, check it out. It's a great storyline. I love good storylines. Delicious storyline, and you'll love it.
I already love it. A black lady commander. I'm gonna eat it up. Thank you.
You will.
Oh man. Now, is there anything you would like to leave our audience with?
Let me see. Well, I think that if you if anything, I would like to tell people that nothing is overnight. I think a lot of times, especially now when you have your phones and everything is instant, but when you're going after a goal, understand that things don't happen overnight. I tell my kids that a lot, that it's really about, getting the soil ready, planting the seeds. I think I've said this before, and waiting for those things to grow. And each beautiful flower grows at its own pace, but it still grows. And so when you want to get somewhere, think about that. When you have goals, think about that. And be patient and keep working toward it. And that's what I would say.
Come on. A gardener. I love it.
Not really. I'm not really a gardener. I try.
You just gave me a garden metaphor. You a gardener compared to me.
Yeah. I actually suck. And the reason why is because the reason why I say that, and this is when you talked about your war story,
yes,
it's because that is my lesson in life, to learn patience, to learn, even leaving high school, learning that everything needs a foundation and you need to build up on it to get to where you need to be. Nothing happens overnight. And I think that is like my life challenge of learning that. So that's what I would pass to everyone. If you don't learn anything else from this podcast with me, then I would think, just get that. And you'll be all right.
I love that. Thank you so much. You have dropped an hour and a half worth of gems. You've dropped a wealth of knowledge. You've given great stories. I'm very appreciative that you would even sit down and have this conversation with me. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy, and thank you for your stories.
Thank you for asking me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I really appreciate it. I think this is awesome, and hopefully it'll reach a lot of people and help people, and or maybe somebody will see me sitting at my desk at headquarters and they listen to this. Come on by, say hi. Yeah,
I hope so too.
yeah, come on by my cube.
By you got a cubicle and you a E9?
Everyone's got a cubicle. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. I don't care about having a cubicle. I'm at headquarters, so I'm good.
That's what's
my family's happy. Cube, whatever.
That's what's up.
I'm at an office. It ain't all that.
Cubicle or not, you about to have a DD214.
Soon, yes.
I love it. I love it.
Definitely.
That's what's up.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Are we done recording?
I'm going to end us real quick. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. It was wonderful talking to you all. And bye now. And that concludes this episode of the Seasoned Vet Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. And a special thank you to the Master Chief for sharing her story and taking the time to make this interview possible. Now, if you are or know a Black lady veteran who would like to sit down with me and be a part of the show, please email me at seasonedvetpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can call or text message me at 713-254-0970. You can also find, follow, and inbox me, The Seasoned Vet, across all platforms of social media. At Real Seasoned Vet on Twitter, at Seasoned Vet Podcast on Instagram, at Seasoned Vet Podcast on TikTok, at Seasoned Vet on YouTube, Seasoned Vet on Facebook. Y'all, I'm so out there, I'm even on Spoutable. That's at The Seasoned Vet on Spoutable. Now, if you like what you heard, please like it, share it, rate it, and leave a good review on whatever platform you're listening to this on. And if you're hearing this episode on the day that it drops, then you're listening to it on February 19th, 2024. Today's the 82nd anniversary of the Tuskegee Airmen being initiated into the U.S. Armed Services. Today is also the 84th birthday of the Grammy Award-winning Motown legend, William Smokey Robinson Jr. Today is also the 57th birthday of model and Real Housewife of Atlanta star, Cynthia Bailey. Thank you again for tuning in. And until next time, fall out.